And the final tip I always have is be very careful about opening your front door when you don't know who is the other side. We're getting too many home invasion robberies. 2 weeks ago, an elderly woman in La Jolla opened her door at night and a robber came in and attacked her. She was, I think, 81. We still haven't identified who that was. But please, always have a second line of defense. Don't ever open your door without knowing who's coming. And if you don't know them, even if they stand there in a uniform, don't fall for it. You see these 4 wonderful people? They all live in a very safe place called Mount Miguel Covenant Village in San Diego. But they all fell for the same scam. They opened their doors when they weren't expecting anybody, and it was a guy dressed in a Roto-Rooter uniform. You've heard of Roto-Rooter, right? Now, this is not the crook. This is some poor fellow I just borrowed from the internet. I have no clue who he is, okay? But the crook used to work for Roto-Rooter, but they fired him for dishonesty, and then they forgot to ask for the return of his uniform. So one day he's unemployed. He thinks, I need to go get some money. I know, I'll go steal from some seniors. So he puts on the Roto-Rooter uniform and drives over to Mount Miguel Covenant Village unchallenged and knocks on the door of all these 4 victims. They all live in independent living apartments. And because he's in a uniform, they are convinced that he is legitimate. And he says, management has sent me. There's a problem with your plumbing. Can I please come in? So now he directs them to go to the rear bathroom, to stand by the hot and cold taps while he's out of sight in the living room, and that's where he steals the precious items. And he does this to all 4 of those victims. So don't let anybody in that you weren't expecting or that you hadn't requested. This lady, some of you will recognize her name is Sandy Vinge. She made a mistake of purchasing a Kirby vacuum cleaner. Please don't ever buy a Kirby. Have you ever tried to lift one out of the box? It's impossible. They weigh 3 tons. The guy who sold her the vacuum cleaner came back 6 weeks later, unannounced, knocked on her door at 10 o'clock at night in Mount Helix and said, hi, Sandy, remember me? Can I come in to use your telephone? Because I've just broken up with my girlfriend and I need to call my mother to come and pick me up. She let him in. And you know the story. He attacked her. He duct taped her. He threw her into the trunk of her own car and kept her prisoner for 25 and a half hours. She would have died in that trunk had it not been for a deputy sheriff who was on the same road at midnight and saw this car and for whatever reason decided to follow it. It was only gut feeling. Unfortunately, the crook who attacked Sandy saw the black and white unit in his rearview mirror and gunned it through a red light. And that gave the deputy sheriff probable cause to stop the vehicle. She was rescued just in time before she died in the trunk of that car. And Sandy and I meet regularly, and she's the first one to say, don't ever open your door at night and let anybody in that you're not expecting.